In fact, let me find. You can go. There's this word, a certain derogatory word that we are called throughout the generations by certain racist people. And though it has a rude meaning, it is based off of this original word called nigger, which is very close to the word that we know today. However, it is very much different to what you would believe. So, Strong's definition, actually, let me make you listen to it honestly.
Strong's G 3526. Niger. Niger.
Right. Yes, you see what's going on here now. So, the KJV translates Strong's, the word up there in the following manner: Ne- Neger equals black, and that was also the surname of the prophet Simeon. They called him a Neger. Isn't that lovely? Now, Neger of Latin origin means black. Neger. Now, a Christian equal Neger, right? Strong's definitions. That's another one. It's very much related to Simeon, the same one that's in Acts 13, right here. If you wanted proof, it's right here. Yeah, yeah, KJV. Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas and Simeon, that was called Niger, and Lucius of Cyrene, or Cyrene, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, a Manaen, which had been brought up with Herod the Tetrarch, and Saul. Now, Simeon, that was called Niger, was called black. We used to use this word as comfort from the slave people, and they noticed that we were comforting each other with this word. So what they did was put a derogatory twist. If I can find the article of it. um all right, so as we all know, it's a slur, right? If I can find the word, N word, right? It's very disturbing. Oof. So as you can see, they didn't really like us, as you can very much see of what they were very as you can see right here in this little part here. So you want to be married, do you? He said. And to a free N word. Yes, sir. Well, I'll soon convince you whether I am your master or the N fellow you honor so highly. If you must have a husband, you must take up with one of my slaves. You see? Oh, and it was a white that made that word. They added on the other G so they can transform the entire meaning for it, right? All right. So, okay. Sorry, I'm just looking for something. Mhm. It completely buggers me. But it boggles me. I can't even say the right word because I'm so bothered by this. But again, I've expected this. We're the ones that are hated with a perpetual hatred. Look at how the treason Hispanics always looking at them like they're drug addicts. Then the Native Americans, the land that America isn't even for the whites or even for the African Americans. It's the Native Americans, right? And us black people who were taken from Africa, placed in the Caribbean, in the Americans, and in the Sub-Saharan slave trade, transatlantic and Sub-Saharan. No, I was curious, so I decided, oh, what the heck? Let me look up on a certain few things, you know, and you know, Jamaica, we are a very diverse people, and it's because of our diversity, aka our diversity when it comes to the African tribes that were, you know, taken here. We have a very interesting bloodline. So, most Jamaican slaves came from the region of modern day Ghana, Nigeria, and Central Africa, and included the Akan, Ashanti, Yoruba, Igbo, and Ibibio. I'm sorry if I'm saying anything incorrectly. Right now, very sorry. And oh my goodness, 16th century. That's 4 years. Mm, interesting, huh? No, I'm hearing Akan might be the same thing as Igbo. I'm not sure if I'm incorrect. Please tell me. I'm still new to this type of things. I'm very interested in African culture. As you can see, I want to make it known that we are not far from Africa. No, I looked up something very interesting, right? Or again, if anybody has any information about what I'm about to put down here, please let me know, right? But as you can notice, you notice how, depending on where the tribes were brought to in Jamaica, right? It must also mean, right? It must also mean that, ha ha ha, it must also mean that depending on where they are brought, each parish has a concentration are most likely descended from specific people. Westmoreland could be descended primarily of the Yoruba people, whilst Montego Bay could be descended from the Igbo people. Now, it's funny, these people here, Akan people right here, as you can see, based on the slave ship records, right? Mm-hmm. As you can see here. So, Akan, right? Right. All right. It says here that the Akan people, right here, who are also this right here, right, are said to be the ones that were mainly in. I don't even want to use that word. They were mainly brought here right? So that would mean that the Akan. No, actually, I read something. I read something last night. Oh, people, getting spicy. But right here, so according to the Slave Voyages archives, through the Igbo and had the highest importation numbers. They were they were the only imported. Oh, apologies. Just a moment. They were only imported to Montego Bay and St. Anne's ports, right? While the Akan in the Gold Coast were more dispersed across the island and were a majority imported to 7 of 14 of the island's ports. Each parish has only one port. Now, a few of my relatives came from Montego Bay, and I have a living relative who had a father, right? All of them come from Montego Bay. Long time. So my bloodline most likely has the Igbo bloodline. All right. Akan people, I'll have to look up where the Akan people come from and I'll show you then when the time comes. However, actually, this is my first time being on this site too, so please understand if I look a bit, So, as you can see, these were the regions where they came from, right? Right. No, we very much have a relation with African. We are African. But sadly, people that don't live in Africa, even though they have the DNA, they tend to say that they're not. Why? Because they're not born in Africa. That's their excuse, right? But that's a colonized mind way of thinking. Be free. Your mind is free, as my mother likes to say. Free your mind, and your ass will follow. Oh my goodness, well, ass isn't a bad word. Honestly, it's in the Bible, but still, sorry about that, but you get the gist. Yeah, I get the thing what me I say, right? Uno, I get what me I say. So, anyways, where does I'm just looking up here. So, African Akan tribe descend. Oh yes, and if you hear that you are descended from Ham, and you know your backstory being slave, right? Like slavery is in your backstory and lasted 400 years. The devil is a liar because you're Hebrew. Every person who has the bloodline of a Jamaican, right? Who knows, right? That them ancestors them are slave, right? They are Hebrews. Point blank, boom. That's all me have to say. Oh, that is all that I have to say. Oh. That's all I have to say. Now, where does the African Akan tribe descend from? In the 12. Sometimes they will tell lie and say you come from Ham. It's not true. It's not true. It is not true. Honest to God, it is not true. Mm. Some of the suggestions hold that the Akans may have come from some parts, the Sudan, the old Mali Empire, Burkina Faso, and even from Mesopotamia, where they had close connection with Israel. Lord of mercy. Lord of mercy. Woo! Modern Ghana. Modern Ghana. You are Judah. Mm-hmm. You are Judah. Your root is Akan, or is the story of the scriptures. This here is right here. And the type, you know what? I'm going to copy this, like dead honest, because these people, right? There was a Jamaica gleaner that was out. Oh, just a moment. I need to plug in this actually. I just remember. There was a Jamaica Glino.